it's become a reality. I've been voted off of Who Reviews the Reviewers. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so I guess Who Reviews the Reviewers, they're done with me. Yeah, I'm finished. But I'm not done with Who Reviews the Reviewers myself. In fact, now that I'm out of the contest, and I'm doing my own farewell video, now I can display my true feelings for everyone that's involved with that contest. And let me tell you, my feelings are going to be as raw and uncut as a T-bone steak. And yes, I am being sarcastic with that statement. No, I don't mean any kind of bad taste or bad vibes towards Who Reviews the Reviewers or Geekvolution. In fact, I have nothing but good things to say when it comes to Geekvolution and Who Reviews the Reviewers. I feel honored to be a part of something that's associated with Geekvolution. I highly respect Geekvolution, Vince, and Captain Logan, everything they've done. As a player, I think I would judge myself as someone who personally was adequate. I don't think the contest showed the best in me as a reviewer, and I didn't get that chance because of bad luck and some circumstances. But I don't think the videos I did could have been way better. And especially in that sense, I think the only good review that I did was the Super Mario Brothers review, and that was just because I planned out the time and nothing went wrong with the process of that review. But now I'm leaving, and I'm leaving with my review of M&M's, and yeah, it's kind of hard to say, that yes, it's not the review spot's fault. It's not nobody's fault. But yeah, I do kind of feel sad inside because deep down, I still want to be a part of it. I still want it. It gives me something to look forward to. But on the other hand, now I can work on my other projects that I want to do. And it's sad that I leave on a sour note, and it's the review spot's review, because I owe that guy, a great helping hand and a lot of thanks. Because if not for him, I would have not gotten as far as I did. Actually, I was going to give him a gift, as a token of gratitude. I was going to present this to him because he got me past round 2, and without his vote, I wouldn't have gone as far as I did. But now that I'm leaving because of this review, now I'm kind of second guessing about this. So thank you for the opportunity. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate all of the high and low points, for the criticisms, and for all the good words. And the one thing that I'm going to leave this contest with is with something that Vince said in the last round at the end, when he said that I don't think we saw DPSEQ review M&Ms. I think what we saw was a guy who reviewed something in an average way that people expect to see when you talk about food. And to me, that just speaks that I didn't fail due to a lack of skill, but just because of the circumstances that I ran into. So, thank you so much for the kind words. With all that said, adieu, and thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to round 6 of Who Reviews the Reviewers. I'm Captain Logan. We are down to the wire. We are down to our final 3 contestants. And before we get right into the deliberations for this week, let me introduce my esteemed co-host. If you tell him he can't swear, he gets really, really creative. It's Vince!
Well, shucky darn, it's me!
And he's the last hope for the universe. It's the real Manos.
Hey, what up?
I'm still waiting for him to do a review of his own hands. It's the review spot.
I am really excited for some monkey meat in this challenge.
And the man whose name is perhaps a Back to the Future reference, though I can't be sure, it's Mr. Fusion.
Spoiler, it is. Also, I should probably get this out of the way and admit that I'm colorblind, so maybe the red references in these videos kind of went over me.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I just ruined the whole challenge.
Well, we'll help you out. It's okay. If you're like, there was no red anywhere, and we were like, yes, there was. Like, but there was a crazy amount of yellow. I just couldn't. Well, let me once again mention the prizes for this year's winner of Who Reviews the Reviewers. You'll get a $100 gift card to Amazon.com, a chance to participate in a review panel with the contest judges, and you'll be featured in an episode of Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. And like I said, we're down to the final 3. It's going to be really exciting to find out who makes it this week and who gets voted off. Last week's challenge was a very bizarre one. It was the Arbitrary criteria round. What we asked the remaining 3 contestants to do was to review a movie with the following requirements imaginatively and skillfully integrated into their videos. So they had to pick a movie that began with the letter M. It had to contain a monkey, the review, not the movie, but the review. Had to contain a monkey. The review had to feature the color red. It had to contain a clear reference to one of the other contestants, and it had to contain an interesting factoid found somewhere other than Wikipedia. And the time limit on this one was 10 minutes. We gave them plenty of time, and in fact, a couple of them went quite a bit under the time limit, surprisingly enough. And so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Remember that the idea for this round was to see how imaginatively they could fit these criteria in, and we were really testing this time their creativity and their ingenuity. So let's find out how well they did. The first person we're going to talk about tonight is SXE Blues and his review of the film Midnight Run. And
hello, and welcome to the Bluesman Retro Reviewer 5000. We do sincerely hope you enjoyed today's show. So ladies, gentlemen, illustrious brain-augmented primates, let us look back on the past together. Today's selection begins now.
Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Bluesman, Johnny Blues, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 1988 Martin Brest film, Midnight Run, primarily starring Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin, with featured appearances from Yaphet Kotto, Joe Pantoliano, John Ashton, and Dennis Farina, among others. It's primarily the story of Jack Walsh, a former Chicago cop turned bounty hunter who is really ready for retirement. He's fed up with that side of his life, always getting shot at, having to fight it out with criminals and bad guys, and being strung along by his on-again, off-again boss at a bail bonds establishment, Eddie Moscone.
we're going to start off with the review spot.
First of all, I just want to say that once again, I think SXE Blues was thinking really outside the box, not simply just doing a review, but actually finding a way to incorporate some sort of beginning and some sort of ending to it that was his own thing. And I really enjoyed the intro. I especially really liked the outro to it as well. It seemed I was kind of going through my list. I kind of had my little list of all the requirements that were for this challenge. As far as I could tell, he did make reference, or he did hit all the key points. Now there were, in my opinion, of course some stumbling blocks, maybe some shortcomings in the way he incorporated those. For example, like the monkey, as well as the reference to the one or multiple contestants. He kind of just seemed to cram at the beginning of the intro, and he didn't really so much mention them as he said, the other guys or the other gals, and just showed their pictures. Also, I'm not sure, and perhaps maybe one of the other judges can pipe in. In the sense of using the color red, the only red I could really tell that he used was in the actual text font at the beginning and at the end.
Okay, I thought that was okay. That's what I noticed too. So I'm not completely crazy about the color.
That's all I found also. Yeah, okay. I didn't feel it was quite blatant enough. I mean, we asked it to be integrated, but it was one of those things where I was like, I'm not sure if he's trying to use red or not. Yeah. So it was maybe too well integrated, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. As a pro to what he did in the review, I thought the dissolving transitions that he did from stills were the best of all the ones done this challenge. He had pretty good use of pictures. He had, I think, an overall pretty good narrative to the overall review itself of the movie. I mean, there were a couple of times where it seemed like he stumbled with what he wanted to say. I know in the opener he was using the word cat a lot, like he was using, I guess it made for something that he is known for. He makes his reviews very approachable, kind of like he's in the room, kind of just talking to his friends, kind of thing. Which I guess is a pro and a negative. He did seem to use the word cat a lot. I found just in the opener. He did mention the IMDb, which was again a good reference. It met the requirement. I think overall he did a good job, but I feel as if like the opener was I don't want to say cop-out, that's a bad word, but I kind of find like that was a bit of a cheap way to incorporate some of the requirements of the challenge by kind of cramming them all in the opening the way he did. But aside from that, I thought it was a pretty good review.
Fusion.
Oh, geez, I'm not sure if I have anything to say that Review Spot didn't already cover. But
Okay,
I can
Vince.
go if you want.
This is
hey,
the quickest show ever.
My car's warming up right now. It doesn't take much for me to just...
All 3 rounds tonight, we get to Fusion, and he just says pass.
Boy, this is gonna be easy. Yeah, I guess I agree with Spot. I'm gonna say more than that. I guess, I mean, I can almost see it as in terms of some of the requirements for the challenge as taking a review he'd already done and just sort of tacking on these intro and outro segments, which were really good. But yeah, it did just seem like, okay, I have to put this in here, so let's put that in there, and I have to put that in there, and that's going to go there. I did like his monkey. It looked like George Burns. That made me laugh. I mean, real George Burns, the way he looks makes me laugh too, or the way he looked, but
Serious George Burns.
George
Burns in Oh God, You Monkey.
Part 5.
So yeah, I guess I could spend this entire time talking about the George Burns monkey, but I won't do that because I have integrity as a reviewer. His review was very good. I thought it was very well structured, and in terms of taking the movie for what it is, sort of this buddy cop genre, and showing how it works, is that it didn't sell it short, didn't sort of give it an excuse as being, oh well, this is just this kind of movie, so any flaws can be glossed over. He was critical about it, but at the same time managed to show how in his opinion it did sort of stand head and shoulders above other movies of that genre. So I thought it was really good. Really good review. He just could have incorporated a few of those elements, because some of them were incorporated pretty well. Like the factoid was fairly seamless. But just the monkey, the contestants, and the color red, which I thought I saw in the zombie apocalypse typeface, but I wasn't sure if I was just imagining that or just sort of reaching for it. I guess that could have been a little more pronounced, but then again, what do I know?
Go ahead, Vince.
All right. As always, I feel like SXE Blues is really, he demonstrates, like, this is his strong point, I think. He really demonstrates understanding for character and story and all of the important parts of narrative. I really feel like he understands that. And when I sit down to watch a blues review, I get a little excited because I know I'm going to watch something by a guy that knows what he's talking about. So that was the strongest thing that he had in his review, I thought. The weakest thing, I think he's pretty consistent on this. The weakest thing is his performance. He has an adequate delivery, but at this point in the competition, since we're judging these people against each other, his delivery is still a little lackluster. Now, that's not something that can't be compensated for. I think he makes a good video. It's just for the purposes of the competition, he can't really step up his delivery, because I don't think that he necessarily has I don't know. Maybe that's a little judgmental to say, but then again, we are judges. But,
I completely agree with you, Vince. I think it's way too late in the competition to still have that problem.
Yeah.
Like there are some people that just have this inability to really just pull it out there and say, "Hey there, cats and kitties, how you doing?" But not that he has to do a radio show voice, but it's a performance thing, and I like his videos, I like his reviews. It's just something that hurts him at this point. And the monkey appearance was not seamless, but I'm not certain that it would have been a problem for me had I not been looking for a monkey. But because I really thought it was funny. Ladies, gentlemen, something primates. I thought that was really funny. I'm like, here we go. This is going to be a review I'll enjoy. And I thought it was, I don't know, it was funny enough to make me not care if it was forced, but I still question whether or not it was forced, because I think it's okay to have some jokes like that in there. Yep. Yeah, I'm good. Here we go. It's done.
I think this review was adequate. I don't think it's real standout, and I don't think that it's the best work we've seen from Blues. I think that it's clear to me watching this that there are some challenges that he enjoyed more than this. I don't know if I'm right about that, but that's sure how it felt to me. I completely agree with Spot when he said that it seemed like he was throwing a lot of the criteria at the beginning. This was about being as creative as you can be, and I feel like he was trying to knock down the bowling pins real quick as opposed to seeing what really interesting, clever ways he could integrate all this stuff. I didn't have a problem with where I'm with everybody else. I thought the monkey was funny, but I just thought, putting all three of those things right there at the beginning maybe wasn't the way to go. I think that this is a little late in the competition to start to still be playing with format. I feel like Blues has had a really solid format the last few rounds, and I felt like this time he went with something that was half scripted and half not, and I don't think it really worked for him. I think that all of the ideas were there, and it was still a really strong review as far as content goes, but it wasn't as professional as some of his prior reviews have been, especially the last one. I thought that there were a lot of uhs and things like that in his speech, which, if we were used to it and that was the way he reviewed, perhaps we could be okay with it and kind of get past it. But I'm not used to that. I'm not used to hearing that from him. I'm used to something a lot more polished from Blues. So I was a little bit surprised by that. It seemed to me like maybe he was, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't know if this was the case, but it came off to me like he was not sure if just scripting a review he could get as long of a review as he wanted. It's like he wanted it to be 7, 8, 9 minutes, and I think 7:50 is what it clocked in at. But it's longer than anything we've asked him to do before, and it seemed like he was like, okay, I want to stretch time a little bit, so I'm going to do it off the cuff. And I'm not sure how well that worked for him. I thought that he has a really good sense of understanding of story narrative, and I loved his discussion of dual protagonist character arcs, the idea that he was watching not just a comedy but something that actually had a character study of these two different men and how they're alike and how they're different. I liked all of that. I was very intrigued by it, and I've not seen this movie, and I felt like I understood where he was going. He had a really good summary at the beginning, and I think he did a really good job of bringing those of us through the review who didn't know what he was talking about, and that was smart with something like this because not everybody's going to have seen this movie. The only other complaint I have, and it's not huge, but once again, as far as the criteria go, I wasn't sure about IMDb. I felt like maybe I should have said outside most well-known encyclopedic websites and not just Wikipedia, just because I was like, well, I could easily go find that. I would have been much more impressed if it had been a tidbit that I couldn't as easily and as readily just go off and find myself. Again, it filled the criteria. I just, I wasn't impressed by it, and I would have liked to have been impressed a little bit more with this. Mano, it's your turn.
I also enjoyed the intro and the ending of the video, where I do think he may have taken advice from us. Actually, we seem to really like the last time he did sort of a wraparound piece like this. Before it was the sort of Mission Impossible style hosting bit that he did, and I think since that did so well, I think he did sort of a variation on it this time around. So I don't really hold it against him on that. I've seen some of his other videos recently, and he hasn't been doing it for his regular stuff. So that's definitely something maybe he's kind of like seen as something he can do in this series so far. I did like.
Manos, do you think? I'm sorry. Do you think he should use that as like a regular shtick? Something he should do all the time? No. I think it would be neat if it somehow related more to what he was actually reviewing, because I feel like he could put anything between those two sides.
Yeah.
That was the only problem I had with it. I thought it was funny, but I was just sort of like, okay, well, it includes the criteria, but like, it'd be cool if you found something that thematically went with the thing he was talking about.
Well, I was thinking when I was watching it, like if I was doing this, I would probably just hold up a monkey doll and just go, here. All right, now my review. so I think
okay.
you more
Does that mean
than I would.
Oh, all right. Do you just not like this challenge, Manos?
No, it's fantastic.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking because the idea was to well integrate it in, and you were just like, screw that BS. I'll just put the monkey up before the video starts.
Well, I don't know. I think I like the way he did it. He got it all at once. He did incorporate the red very seamlessly in comparison to that, to the point where he had to watch the video again to go, oh, there's the red, which I guess. Yeah. I guess the zombie apocalypse line, I think, worked well to use that effectively. And of course, the review itself, was pretty much the same kind of good quality review he normally gives us, a good solid description, just in case you haven't seen the film, which is weird because the film's now kind of become an obscure movie. And I remember when this movie came out, and it was a big hit. And this was almost De Niro's comeback film for a while because he had not done movies for like 5 years. And everybody was talking about it, like, oh, De Niro's in kind of a mainstream kind of thing here. Now people don't even remember this thing, which is too bad because Charles Grodin is really good in this movie. And I think it was a good, solid review for him, and I agree. It's not his best review, but it's hardly his worst. So I definitely put this, kind of a medium review from him. And there's something else I was thinking about, too, and just slipped my mind.Maybe I'll come back to it.
Okay, does anybody else have anything they'd like to add before we move on?
Actually, there was that one thing. Vince, you were talking about his delivery?
Yeah.
In this video? I like his delivery.
That's the thing, is I like his delivery, too. I just think it could be a little stronger, and I think for the competition it hurts him, but in reality it's not a huge deal.
I have never once thought of his delivery as being a negative, really. I think I like the very he sounds very comfortable in his review, and there's something very inviting about his delivery and the manner in which he speaks. So I don't know. I've always enjoyed it.
I'm with Vince. I've always I have mentioned that a few times that I feel that he could stand to put a bit more pep in his step or pep in his voice in this case.
I completely see where Manos is going. I'm just afraid that it being that laid back vocally, it makes it very, very difficult to build a YouTube following. That's my only worry. I'm just afraid that you'll have a lot of people who will watch a video like that and get 10 or 15 seconds in and decide that he's boring and stop watching him. I don't think that's fair, but I think that's what people would do.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't see that.
Well, I was thinking in his case.
See, there's sometimes people get into somebody who they kind of almost see is, when they watch somebody either on TV or on YouTube, there's something. There's an odd comfort. I don't know. There's something oddly comfortable about watching somebody who is just themselves and they're not yelling at you. I hate when people yell at me. That's why I don't listen to morning DJs anymore.
Yeah.
And there's something really fun and inviting about that. Will he build I don't know, a nostalgia critic audience? I don't know, but I think he can build a fairly dependable audience.
I'm gonna meet you halfway on it, Manos. I think it works a lot better when he's on screen than it does when he's off.
Well, I'm certainly not saying that he should yell. I
think the face goes really well with it. I'm just not sure that it stands all that well just as a voice.
Yeah. Well, especially in his case, where he his audio is relatively low to begin with. It makes it difficult to hear. I think it would help his technical side of things if he did put a little more, at least a little more energy into it. Then it'd be easier to hear his videos.
Now, I think the audio is a separate story, really. Because if he had a better quality audio, would you even worry about it?
I don't know, because it's still just, I don't know, I still find it just a bit, it does work for being inviting, but I do think he needs to have multiple levels, otherwise it ends up becoming a slight monotone sound if it goes on for just the same level the entire time.
Yeah, I agree, but Lance, I think Manos has a really good point. I think you almost would have to put a really good microphone in front of him before we could tell, because it may just be that there's not enough bass in that microphone, you know? I mean, people complain a lot about some of my early rewinds when I was using a headset and when I was using a different camera, and people used to complain a lot more about my voice back then, not even thinking about the audio quality. And I don't get nearly as much of that now that I have a better microphone. So some of it could just simply be a technical thing. I would suggest to SXE Blues, if he wins the competition, to maybe invest that money in a microphone.
I concur.
Earlier I was going to say that I do like the summary. It was changing topic, yay! That I do like this summary, and I think it was necessary. And I think it gives a precedent for you to be able to pull information from and use it as a source for your review, as backing up your words with events from the film. But I thought it was a little belabored, but that might just be because it was kind of a tightly plotted movie. So I'm not saying it's a drawback. I'm just saying that to some extent I hear that much of a summary and I'm like, wow, why didn't I just watch the movie?
I don't know. I personally felt like I needed all that.
Yeah, me too.
To even know what I was listening to. But I think sometimes it depends on the movie.
Yeah, that's why I say it's not like a horrible negative or anything. I'm just saying it took me out just a little, but not enough to stop caring.
Oh, okay, sure. Spot?
Oh, I was just going to say one revision I just want to make to the first bit of comments I made about his video. I really should take back the whole thing about saying that he put in the red, and it just seemed like to me like it was just it was there for the sake of being there. But I guess there was really no requirement as to how the material was to be used in the challenge. I still stand behind the fact that he did. It was a cop-out for him to use the pictures and not really reference the names of the other challengers. But the red is red, no matter how he used it. So I won't give him strikes for that. But yeah, I do think the other stuff he really...
Yeah, creativity and seamlessness, I think. It was lacking a little creativity.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go ahead and go on now to Zazubar's review of Mothra vs. Godzilla, another film that begins with an M, and we're going all the way back to the review spot.
What makes a film? Is it defined by its background? By its title? Perhaps by its directors or screenwriters? Well, what if instead a film wasn't defined by one prominent characteristic, and instead came together into one whole to be scrutinized? Nah, then most of us reviewers wouldn't have much of a career. Let's review Mothra vs. Godzilla. If you took a quick glance at the poster of this film, what would you make of its title? Well, if I were unfamiliar with the character and background of Godzilla, I might take one look at it and call it silly. I mean, it sounds formulaic, typical, and sort of ridiculous. Hell, even as a Godzilla fan, it sounds kind of silly.
Okay, so Zazubar's review, I can say, for starters, was long. It was over the 10-minute mark, which I think was probably...
Is it over it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes, and was it
Slightly.
37? Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't even have that note. Okay, thank you.
I would think of all the requirements for this competition, probably the biggest one is always time. Because it shows the mark of a reviewer that, you can take, what could be very well crunch time and be able still to put in as much as you want. It seems to me like, and I'm trying to think if he had done this before where he had put in too much of what didn't need to be in the review, which made the review longer than when it should have been. I don't know. I might have been thinking of somebody else, but I found that the beginning seemed to me like it was a last-minute addition. Like he had the review on its own, and it could have worked easily fine. And maybe the intro was just to incorporate something with a red. By the way, I also want to say I love his T-shirt. That Superman T-shirt. I gotta get me one of those. But the beginning did seem like it was something that was incorporated as a last-minute thought. Like, oh crap, I don't have anything red, or I need to put a touch to this. I need to season the steak a little bit, so I'm going to do this kind of thing.
He did talk about red water in there, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes,
now,
that's right.
Now, could you use the argument though that wasn't necessarily the true color of the red, and as much as it was? Of course, I guess there was no real stipulation as to how red was incorporated.
No, we didn't ask for a mention though. We asked to see it on screen.
Oh, okay. So if
they did show some red water.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think we're finding that red is one of those things where it's like, well, can it be too integrated to count? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think we can say that there's at least an effort, and I think that if we can spot something where it's pretty clear that he did it on purpose, it's not really fair to go, well, it's not obvious enough when we say make it well integrated.
True.
It's like, what do you want from me, judges? God. Oh, sorry, I was yelling.
Take that, Manos!
Yeah, I was going to say, it only really bothers Manos. The rest of us are all right with it.
Manos just left. He's like, God, I hate it when Captain
He's
Logan's
like, forget
yelling all the
this.
time.
Where's my jacket? I'm out of here. I like the fact that he did incorporate the other challenger. He incorporated Curious Low. The one thing, I'm sorry, I'm just looking through my notes here. I'm trying to see if it. Now, maybe one of the other judges can pipe in here. I wasn't sure if the reference with a valid source, that wasn't the Curious Low comment, was it? Did he actually?
No, it was the stuff from the commentary or documentary on the.
Oh,
on the movie,
it was about the suit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the
right.
end. Uh-huh.
Okay. I found overall his review was really, really good. It was clear. I think his narrative in this, the voiceover was probably some of his better work. I found really as a stumbling block for him for how he was doing it was, and it was very jarring for me to listen to it. There was a couple of times, and it might have maybe happened 3 times, where he had said, "I'll get back to that in a second," as he was talking about something he was already focusing on, and it seemed to me like it either wasn't scripted out or it was scripted out, and he just skipped over a note because it was something he wanted to talk about later. But as a magician, you really don't want to show what you're doing wrong with the trick, because everyone else watching it will not know it, will not spot it. He could have easily come back to the point later without, I think, really obviously stating it. I liked, again, the tidbit about the suit. I honestly didn't know that. The only other point I would really make is, for the most part, it was good that the photos were good. The video was, again, really long. I think a lot of the summary and the review itself could have been chopped by a good 2 minutes. Because while he did cover the story really, really well, he did spend a lot of time on aspects that maybe I would have wanted just to find out myself. I think the only problem for me really is it was longer than it needed to be, but I thought he did a pretty good job with it.
Okay, go ahead, Fusion.
Well, first of all, lucky for him that it wasn't Godzilla versus Mothra instead. Something that I have commented on a lot of Zazu Bar's videos, that he does seem to like to open them in a very similar way. I do this sometimes in my own videos too, is to start with a general type, a general sort of message, and then sort of segue that into his specific topic. And I just realized, especially in the way he did it this time, it reminds me of the Wonder Years. I see like the narrator talking is like, think about movies and the way they had impacted our lives. And one day when I was in junior high school, I don't know, but what was weird, and Spot mentioned this too, was just the way that it really felt like he had two of those in this video. He had the very beginning where he was on camera and talking about what the elements that make up a film, and then he goes into, well, these are the types of monster movies that were being made during this time period, and felt like, wait, didn't we just have this sort of segue into the main topic? And if personally, I don't think that he went too far over on the time, but if it really was, I think he could have chopped one of those out and still have the review wouldn't have lost anything, but he didn't need both of those in there. I was listening to this on a headset. It's a minor gripe, but when it goes from the on-camera thing to his title, well, the Godzilla title card, it does have like the music plays. It only plays in the right channel, and that just really threw me off.
Oh, really? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it jumps back to his speaking, and it's properly in both channels again, and it's like, whoa, my ears feel weird now. So, I don't know, Zazu Bard made my ears feel weird.
When he played the music, did anybody else kind of think, oh, we're going to get footage?
Yeah. I actually was thinking that when I started watching it. Or at least I thought I was going to get a trailer and then maybe go to stills.
I'm not saying it's bad, I was just like, I was almost slightly disappointed. I was like, oh, I guess it's all going to be stills. I was just kind of surprised when the music played, and then there wasn't like, because I guess when the music played, I thought I was actually watching the opening, because I figured it was just a still shot that was in the movie, and then there wasn't more movement, and I was kind of jarred by that. I was like, oh, okay.
I do think that he had the best integrated, what was I going? Oh yeah, the best integrated reference to another opponent of any of them this time. It's like, wow, whoa, was that was a dig just then, wasn't it? He just made a dig at Curious Low, and I thought that worked. I thought that worked really well. As also his King Kong reference, if we're gonna count that as a monkey, I guess, yeah, that works. But just obviously that sort of played to him very easily, since he does monster movies, to just throw in King Kong, and it wasn't really an arbitrary reference either. He managed to make that work as well. That was pretty seamless too. I thought it was pretty. He still had some tech problems. I did hear some background chatter at least 3 times over the course of his video. Other people in his house talking. So it was just some minor stuff. I didn't feel that it went on too long. I loved his tidbit about the suit. I'm not a huge Godzilla or monster movie type of follower, but I don't know, I thought that was a really, really good choice for that. Just some tech issues, and I remember this. I always say this, but he has sort of the opposite problem that I feel SXE Blues has, is that while SXE Blues has a one-note, really calm voice, Zazu Bar's voice is the exact opposite of that, and just stays one-note excited the entire time, and there just needs to be some more diversity in there. He it's very exciting and keeps me, interested to watch for the first couple of minutes, but after a while it starts to drone. He just needs to use different levels for different parts of different. For more important parts, yeah, sure, have that loudness and have that excitement be in there, but try to pull it back some so it doesn't just sound like it's all one note.
I like that he took a stab at theme. That's something that's always kind of big with me, is when somebody takes a stab at theme to say, this is what I think the movie's about. Like here's the plot, I understand, but this is what the movie's about, and this is how the plot supports it. And he discusses how the plot supports it and what faults the movie has. That he says that he understands what the plot or what the movie's really about, and then he says that this is why it supports it. So this is why it's obvious that that's what they're trying to drive at. But still, they have some problems that they don't quite flesh out to make it as good as it should be, or at least as accurate as it should be if it's trying to drive at this particular theme. So I like it when people do that. I like that he said something about needing to properly juggle aspects of the story, that they need to have the human elements and the monster elements, perfectly balanced. And I think he says they get close, but there's still some needless scenes. I like the fact that he does his review with a wink and a nod. I like that he's pretty accessible with his word choice, and he does continue to explain. Like, at some point he said, the build-up is cool, and then he explains why it's cool, so therefore the word cool only means favorable unless you describe it. Or it means not quite cold, but not hot, so one or the other. But I do like this wink and a nod that he kind of goes into a review with, and I do like his amusing opening. His opening was, ultimately unnecessary, but and I think for this review he probably should have cut it just to make time. And it's not so much. You see, the time issue for me isn't so much that he went over time. That's not really taking points off. The thing that worries me, or that I was kind of took issue with when I watched his video, was that I feel like he could have been more concise in the things that he said and the way that he said them. And he could have, I don't know if he could have edited it down or took more takes, something to that effect, but I think he could have made it a little shorter just by virtue of being more concise. He tries to make certain observations, which I can't fault him for. I mean, he makes an observation about our Mothra protecting the egg, and he says it makes it about life and death. And I'm like, well, it's a battle. It is about life and death. They're, fighting each other. And also generally a creature is predisposed to protect its brood, so it's kind of pointing at something that's slightly obvious and trying to make it deeper than it really is. And I think I called him on that on the Batman Beyond review when he said that Terry it shows something about Terry's character because he's saving these people and he's fighting criminals, but he's a superhero. They do that. These are monsters. They do that. And it's not something that is really problematic. I just think he's giving it more attention than he really needs to. And I'm not saying it didn't need to be cut. I'm not saying that it needed to be cut. I'm not saying that that it was unnecessary to say, but I think that he's kind of missing what the actual importance of it is. And I do think it's a noble effort to do what he's trying to do, and I just think that sometimes his content gets a little lost, and it's kind of reaching a little bit for meaning when there's not as much there. I think I'm not being very concise now that I've complained about his conciseness.
Irony.
I don't know, Vince, I clocked your criticisms at about 10:27.
Really? Sweet.
No, that was a joke.
Oh.
It wasn't a good joke, but it was a joke.
See, he was over the time limit. That's what the joke is.
Yeah, whatever.
See, I was prepped and ready to believe you on that one.
Oh, man. That's pretty cool.
But anyway, I will relinquish the floor.
Vince, I agree with a whole lot of what you just said. I especially want to second all the stuff about trying to make certain points seem deeper than they really are. I agree with everything you said about protecting the egg and stuff. I think that he's right that those sorts of story elements in this movie are really good to put a character there for a reason rather than them just showing up, which is a problem that these sorts of movies happen to have. But I caution Zazubar on, and I'm saying this while realizing that I have a tendency to have this problem myself sometimes. I want to say that when you do a series that is generally about the same kind of movie, and they're not movies that are on the whole like especially intellectual and thinking films, you have a tendency sometimes to make the film seem way more important than it is. And I review superhero movies, and it's very, very difficult, especially when that's what you watch a lot because you do these things. So I just want to say that it's something that you have to always kind of be mindful of. But I feel like this had that problem a little bit, where it seemed like I almost felt like I had to be a big fan of monster movies to appreciate this review, because I'm not, and I'm not sure I would have gotten that from it. One of the things that I didn't agree with Vince on was that he backed up all of his points, and the big one for me was when he talks too generally about what he calls one of his favorite scenes in monster movie history, when he says it's so well written, and then we have no examples as to why it's so well written. I mean, I haven't seen this movie, and if I have to see it first, there needs to be something at the beginning that says make sure that you watch this movie first. But even if you do have to see the movie first, when you say something really general like that, like this scene is really, 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 really well written, there need to be examples to back up your claims.
Wait,
and so
didn't he quote some of the dialogue in that scene?
Not from that scene, or at least if so, I missed it and I apologize. But I don't think he did.
I wasn't even saying that
he didn't quote it verbatim. He just basically summarized what he said.
Huh.
Okay.
All All right. Well, I think if you say something like this scene is really well written, I just think that there should be a little bit of specifics there because it's one of the most well written movies in movie history. Okay, why? Like, give me some dialogue. What was so well written about it?
I think what may have been a good idea is if he had summed up the speech like he did, but maybe inserted a line to really kind of, punch that point there.
And that's one place, In other places, he did a great job with it. I really like the place where he's talking about Mothra's egg washing up onto shore, and he says, "Due to the power of screenwriting."
Yeah, I like that too. I wrote that in my notes. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, that's great stuff. So I mean, I'm not saying that it was wholly missing, but that was a place that I thought it was a little bit lacking. What else? This is just probably a personal thing for me, and I don't want to make a big deal out of this. This is just sort of kind of a playing the game sort of thing. But I feel like we've already seen him do one monster movie, and that's kind of his shtick. I was hoping to maybe be surprised by his pick, and I wasn't, of course, because these are the kind of movies that he reviews. So I don't feel like we've seen him come really out of his comfort zone that often, except for like back when he did like the Dane Cook review, which still is probably my favorite review he's done this season.
Mine too.
And that was totally out of left field, and he was great with it. And I'm not saying that he can't review monster movies. I'm just saying that this needed to be really, really exceptional for me, and I didn't. And because it's the kind of review he usually does, and I didn't feel that. I thought it was adequate. I just didn't think it was great. You've touched on this a little bit earlier, Fusion. I felt like it was a little bit disorganized. Was it Spot who said that he kept mentioning that he was going to bring something up later?
Oh, Spot.
Yeah, that was something that really.
That is disorganization, is all that is. I feel like it did feel like it was completely scripted to me, and I think he usually scripts, and I think that he just needed another pass at editing this thing. He needed to shuffle some things around a little bit, and don't worry about deleting things that need to be deleted. I do think that there's more here that needs to be, and it's a little bit heavy with stuff. And also, I may be the only person who has this, but I thought that some of the jokes kind of missed. I didn't really get the thing he opened with. I watched it 2 or 3 times, and I didn't really understand what he was getting at. When he had his whole like what makes a film speech, I had no idea what he was getting at, and I just didn't think it was funny. So I don't know. As far as everything integrating, I thought most of it was decent. At the very end, I felt like the tidbit that's not from Wikipedia part was kind of tacked on at the end. I like the point that he made, but I'm not sure he would have made it had it not been for that criteria. And so that didn't make it especially well integrated. He needed to find a way to put that somewhere inside of a larger paragraph, I think. I don't mean to be too down on him. I'm mentioning mostly criticisms because all of the things I liked about it were mentioned earlier. So I don't want to come off like I didn't like anything about this. But everything I liked about it have been in most of his reviews. I felt like this was very like normal, even keel for him, and not anything especially exceptional. Go ahead, Manos.
I have to say I am a Godzilla fan and a monster movie fan, so this did have a little more resonance with me. I will agree that the intro doesn't work as much as I think he hoped it would. I think like Blues did, the intro, we seem to talk about, and he decided to do it again. I think in this case, I don't know, it comes off a little bit sloppy. The way it's brought into the whole thing, and I don't know. Maybe he'd been better off not doing a on-camera intro, or maybe a tighter intro, frankly. And I think maybe that's possibly the problem with this video is I can't remember which one of you said maybe just another pass at it, and I think that would have avoided the problem where he said I'll get back to that later, because that's something you say in a review. That's, something to kind of get the audience interested to, listen, because you mentioned like something aside, and then you're going to get really into it later.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think any of us are saying never do that, but yeah. I think if you do it 4 or 5 times, it becomes a problem.
Exactly. You should do it. You should do that kind of thing once in a video, not 3 times. I think if he had gone back through the video, I think maybe he would have caught it and went, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have done it that many times.
Skittles causing cancer tonight at 7.
The answer is no. Sorry we made you worry.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
But Yeah, and I think that maybe a tighter editing, or either on the script or the video itself, maybe would have avoided a few problems of the sloppiness that happened here and there. But I have to say I liked the video overall as far as like the content. I think what a couple of you have already mentioned, like the note about the suit with the jaw. I didn't know that. I've known quite a few like trivia points about the suit and the making of some of these films, and that one I hadn't heard of, so that was really cool. And I have to say I do like all the screenshots you use, particularly the Mothra egg in the ocean with all the ships around it. I thought that looked really, really cool on screen.
I got to ask you a question really quick.
Yeah.
With the suit thing, did he cite a source for that?
Yeah, you did.
What did he
don't
say?
remember.
It was like I can't recall exactly what he said, but it was like from the Toho archives on the. I think it was supplemental material on the DVD though.
Oh, okay, great.
That is definitely something.
I missed it, and I was worried about it, so I was. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't.
I gotta tell you, there's a lot of good trivia stuff on the Godzilla films available, in books, on the websites, and there's a magazine called G-Fan that has lots of cool stuff behind the scenes on all these films. And I do vaguely remember that speech he's talking about. And I wish I had seen the movie recently so I could maybe recite it, but I don't. So I do remember he is right. The speech does challenge the natives to kind of change their mind, because they essentially are kind of acting like these West. I don't want to say Westerners because everybody's in Japan, but the civilization that they claim to be so morally above, and decides to keep them from stepping down to our level. So I do like what he was getting at. I think with I think maybe if he had maybe hit this point a little bit stronger, maybe it wouldn't have come off as such a weird description of Mothra fighting for her young. Because what's interesting about Mothra is she's fairly unique monster, not just in monsters in general, but even within the Godzilla movies. There's always been kind of a spiritual quality to this character, this monster, that isn't in a lot of monsters, even in Godzilla himself. And the fact that she fought for her babies, her offspring, rather than just being a savage monster attacking another savage monster. And there was a big point in the film about the use of greed and putting the pursuit of wealth and power over what's important in life. And then, of course, when Godzilla comes, and then you realize what's important in life. I think maybe if he pursued that a little bit stronger, I think that point would have come across much better.
If I can jump in again for a second about the dialogue, the paraphrasing instead of quoting, this isn't a justification for it, but it does occur to me this is a foreign film that he's reviewing. Therefore, you really only have two options if you're going to talk specifically about dialogue, and that's either to just put a whole bunch of the actual quote, the Japanese, and say that, which your audience mostly will not understand. Just have to take the reviewer's word for it that this is very well written, or your other choice is to go for the subtitle or the dub and choose that, which isn't exactly a direct quote. It's going to be someone's translation, so it is kind of difficult. But
Lance, he quotes the English out loud in places, about other scenes.
But I still could have sworn that he did quote. I still are we talking about the Islander, the convincing the Islanders to help them?
Honestly, I don't remember which scene it was. Just whatever scene it was that he said this is one of the best scenes in movie history, and then he moved like straight on.
That's what he was talking about, that scene.
Okay, all right.
I don't know if he said it in movie history. I hope not, but I think
I thought that's what he said.
I think he said monster movie history.
I'm pretty sure he said monster movie.
I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, you're right. He did say monster movie history. I quoted him as saying that. Wouldn't it be great if you said movie history? One of the greatest lines in movie history.
That one speech in Inherit the Wind and Mothra versus Godzilla.
Well, anyway.
Anywho.
We've talked about this one quite a while. Does anybody else have anything else?
I would love to hear Gregory Peck give that speech.
Well, let's go ahead now and go on finally to the Curious Slow's review of Muppet Christmas Carol.
Hey there, cats and kitties. It's the Curious Slow, and I'm here today with something a little different for an early April review, and that is the Muppet Christmas Carol.
I had a very early love of the Muppets. While the Muppet Show had wrapped up almost 10 years before I was born, I remember watching reruns in the Muppet movies from a very young age. The zany characters were very appealing to me. The Muppets have had many different characters come along, from humans to dogs, cats, and even monkeys. Some of the characters have lasted years, while others appear in just a single episode of The Muppet Show. So why did these crazy puppets make it into a Charles Dickens adaptation? Well, that's what I'm here to let you all know. Charles Dickens' The Christmas Carol was first published in 1843 and first appeared on screen in 1901. Since then, it has been adapted countless times in ever new and groundbreaking ways.
This, I would say this is probably my favorite Curious Slow video, actually. Of all the challenges that she's done, I think this was the most structured. I thought the pictures that she used were well placed, and she didn't, as far as I know, she didn't repeat them because she followed them to the timeline of the movie. Let's see what else. She did, of course, incorporate the idea of the monkey. She threw that in there. She incorporated the Reg. I like the fact that she had an intro and an outro featuring herself. What else? She was very clear, very well spoken. I really don't have a lot of negatives to really make. I mean, this was probably my favorite video that she's done. I honestly didn't realize, I didn't know the thing about Ralph the dog not having a voice in the movie because Jim Henson had passed away and everything like that. I hate to say it, as much as I really like to review, I have always hated this movie. I can't stand Christmas Carol. Some of the songs in that movie, that Marley and Marley, I hate that song. But I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say about it. I mean, I thought her transitions were good. The pictures were done well. I think her voice was probably the clearest of all the challenges that she's done, where she's done a voice over to a still or something like that. I definitely was really, really impressed with the work that she had done this challenge. That's all I got.
Okay, go ahead, Fusion.
I again agree with Review Spot. What's up with that? I've been agreeing with him all night.
This never happened.
Never happened.
With me more this time than you have this entire challenge.
Yeah. Wait, you mean this entire season?
This whole entire season, yeah.
Wow. I enjoyed this one too. So it wasn't just a one-shot wonder that she impressed me with last time. She's maintaining my admiration here. I liked the red clothes. I loved the bow. The one thing I didn't, I thought that the was using SXE Blues' intro the only reference to other contestants she did, or did I miss something else?
Yeah, which I thought was great.
Actually, yeah, that is a good point. I couldn't find the reference. That was the one thing I couldn't find.
Yeah, that was the reference.
That was the reference.
She opens up with his normal call sign.
Oh. See,
I thought it was hilarious. She opens up with "Hey, cats and kitties," and that's just the sort of thing I was looking for myself.
That's clever, then.
That's just the sort of thing I was looking for. Yeah.
Well, see, it's interesting because I thought it played really well. I thought it was cute and funny. I thought it was a bit too random though. It's like one of those things that if you didn't know what was going on, it's like, why is she? What's up with that? Who is that? Why is she saying this? It seemed a bit out of left field to me. It didn't seem as integrated as it should have been, in my opinion. The monkey thing was well integrated. I think the one problem with that though is that she tipped her hand a little too bit. She mentioned the monkey and that was well integrated, but then she sort of lingered on the picture of the monkey as if she wasn't sure we were going to notice it. Like she talks about something totally different, and there's still that shot of that monkey Muppet. It's like, yeah, I got a monkey in here.
Yeah,
wouldn't it be
great? It's the monkey. Get it?
Wouldn't it be great if she did do that and she just left it on there for the normal amount of time but had a big arrow that said, "This is a monkey."
Yeah, see if she'd done that, that'd have been awesome. But this was a very strong review. And I also agree with Review Spot because I seem to be doing that a lot tonight. On her voice of the three.
Oh, I was going to say on the fact you hated the movie.
It's been so long I barely remember the movie, so I honestly couldn't say whether or not I agree with that or not.
Consider yourself lucky.
No, there was one thing.
Spot.
One quote in particular stood out to me where she is going into that talk about the deleted scene and goes, the one scene that they cut out is like that. I was like, I was watching this through a second time and sort of just making notes while doing this. I wasn't exactly glued to what she was saying, just trying to do two things at once. But that snap that got my attention right there, and that's really how you do it in a performance level. Is to emphasize the points you really want people to pay attention to, but don't keep that same level the entire time. Otherwise, you're going to tune it out. But yeah, she did that perfectly, and like, okay, I need to listen to this part now because this is important.
That's how you deliver a scripted review, as if you're coming up with it as you're talking.
Yes. There were a few points where her editing could have been a little tighter and also a little bit looser. There were some points where it just sort of ran, very few, so this is just nitpicking, very few points where it just sort of almost ran into each other, and then one or two points where there was a long pause that needed to be tightened up a little bit.
I had that note too.
Mm-hmm. And then I loved the part about Ralph because I did know that myself. Actually, he hasn't really had much of a role in any Muppet media, or at least, I don't know if maybe more recently he might have, but ever since Jim Henson died, that character has pretty much been reduced to non-speaking roles. I do wish he'd elaborated on that a little bit more, because I could see someone who's only tangentially familiar with the Muppets thinking to himself, well, Jim Henson did a lot of Muppets. How come the rest of them talk and only Ralph, doesn't? I mean, Kermit is in the movie, for crying out loud, and he's definitely Jim Henson, or was. So I wish it did sort of leave that hanging a little bit, and I could see somebody being confused by that. Editing that did work was that her transition from her on-screen stuff to her off-screen recorded stuff was pretty seamless. There was like a little bit of background noise that was in one that wasn't in the other, but other than that, the editing there was just perfect. You could really imagine that those were all recorded at the same time. I don't know what happened at the end though. There was that 10 seconds of black, but that's not really that important either. But
I have a theory about that, but I'll talk about that when it's my turn.
The rest is silence.
But Vince, I'm sorry, Fusion.
I was just saying it was a really strong review, and it's probably my favorite that she's done so far.
Vince,
I'm really like when we started this competition, because we were in it. When she started this competition, I didn't think a lot of her. I didn't really think of her as a heavyweight. I sort of felt like she was trying to do somebody else's style. I sort of felt like she was trying to be Mr. Corellian, and that she hadn't really carved out what her strengths were. But I feel like she's really figured it out. I feel like she knows where she's going and she knows what she's doing, and she's very confident right now. And I think she should be, because she's doing very well. And she demonstrates understanding of characters and plot, and that I can't applaud that enough. I mean, great job. I mean, she makes me feel like this isn't just some Scrooge movie with Muppets in it. She makes me feel like this is supposed to be a good movie, regardless of whether it is or not. And because I don't think I've actually seen it. But her point about the child version of Christmas Past, I thought that was really interesting. I don't know how unique that is among Scrooge movies, but I don't think I've seen a child version of Christmas Past before, so that's interesting. And it's just, people should point things like that out, and she knows to do it, so I applaud that. I thought the requirements were fairly seamlessly put in there. I thought the Hey There Cats and Kitties was great. I really enjoyed that. And her use of red, it was like maybe you would question why she's wearing all that red, but maybe she just likes red. Next week she'll be wearing plaid. So.
Well, I think it worked though because she's worn quirky costumes in the past.
Yeah. And then she gets a cup of tea or whatever it was and says quite pretty often. or quite often, as I would usually say. But, yeah, I liked her review. I really don't have much to complain about.
I thought she had a whole lot of fun with this one, and it's what she did with this, the cleverness that she put into this is really what I was looking for this challenge myself. I thought that it was clear that she was having a good time trying to fit everything in and trying to come up with interesting ways to use everything. I'm with Vince. I thought the red costume was hilarious, and again, I don't think it took her out it would take the viewer out too much, especially somebody who's seen her before, because she likes to dress a little bit eccentrically sometimes, so I totally buy that with her. I thought that she was really trying to make this video into something special, and I appreciated that she was as insightful as she was. That she didn't just make it a run-of-the-mill review of something that she liked, but rather really explored it. And it wasn't just, it's this movie I really love, and here's why you should like it too. I felt like she really explored what it was doing and had really good organization also in here's okay, it's like an 8-minute review, and I can't talk about everything in that, so instead I'm going to come up with a framework to then talk generally about the rest of the film. And the framework was the movie this Muppet movie as a version of Dickens' book, as opposed to just a Muppet movie that happens to be doing Dickens' book. She makes this really great distinction with that, and I really appreciated that. She always does a really good job of making it personal, and she did that here too. She gave us this really brief history about her history with the Muppets, and I really appreciated that. She told me things I didn't know. She mentioned that the first Dickens movie adaptation was in 1901. I didn't do that. I didn't know that. And even better than that,
Pretty sure
you didn't do the first Dickens movie.
Yeah, thanks to the Meteor Method. No, but what I really appreciated was my wife and I watched this one together. My wife really likes this movie. Sorry, Spot. And
I'm sorry.
We watched this. Yeah, it's not my favorite of them either, but she always wants to watch it. But anyway, so. She wanted to watch this review with me, and we both looked at each other and went, "That's a great tidbit," and then that wasn't even her tidbit. That was fantastic. That wasn't even the big one that she cited. Now, I would have appreciated a source cited for that, by the way. She didn't tell us where she found that out. I'm assuming that was probably a wiki thing. But later on, she mentioned something from the DVD commentary, so she still managed that, but. I appreciated that she was coming up with really interesting things to tell us even outside of the criteria, which made the bits of criteria that we asked for even more integrated into the movie. This is going to maybe sound like somewhat of a backhanded compliment. And by the way, I don't have a lot of really of huge criticisms on this one. I thought it was really, really, really strong. I will say that she needs to have tighter editing. I think Fusion mentioned that. And she also needs to re-record when she stumbles. If you're scripting, there's no reason not to. I've said that over and over again this season. And this far in the competition, I really don't like seeing that. So if you stumble a little bit when you're reading something scripted, there's no excuse to not go back and re-record it.
Yeah, but all three of them could use that note. In my opinion, not to sound too harsh, but I noticed all three of them had that at least a few times in their videos.
And that was Zazubar, and I forgot, but she's got it too.
Mm-hmm. But just put it out there for everybody. That's something you should do. It's script. Like I said, there's no excuse for not having that.
So here's my backhanded compliment. She is bordering so close to really good literary criticism on this that there was a spot, and this is going to come off as a nitpick, but I just want to mention it because I think it's interesting. There was a part where I thought she should have dug a little bit deeper, and it was where she was talking about Sam the Eagle and how he starts talking about America, but then he remembers they're in England, and so he has to re-say his little speech. And and she says, you know, he breaks the fourth wall. And I would have appreciated it if she dug a little bit deeper and talked about why breaking the fourth wall in this movie isn't a problem. Because anywhere else it might be. And she's talking a whole lot about how this is a really good version of the book, and that it's one of the closer to the source material versions. So why is it okay, even though it's a Muppet movie, for characters to break the fourth wall? And of course, there is a really good reason. You could of course say that it's because the Muppets are making this movie, and that there are places where it's characters playing other characters, and so there's places where they screw up, and the movie just doesn't edit it out. But I wish she would go a little bit further with things like that, and you know, tell us why things like that aren't a problem. But like I said, I think that's somewhat of a backhanded compliment because she gets so close to it. Her literary criticism is nearly spot on, and I think she has a little bit further that she can go with it. Go ahead, Manos.
All right, I really don't have anything new to contribute to what everybody said. I think everybody was really thorough. This was a really, really solid, very good review, actually, from her. And the way she integrated, you know, the little tidbits, I think worked really well. I had to even watch it a second time to, you know, get them all. They were just so seamlessly put in. She really makes a wonderful case on this film. I grew up as a big Muppet fan, but by the time this film came out, 92, I was kind of not watching Muppets. So I've never seen this one, so I can't really judge whether or not it's a good one or not. It never interested me. And plus, after Henson passed away, you know, I really wasn't really into seeing the Muppets, at least at this time. And I guess I'm really surprised of how personal she does make this review, and how much of a case she makes for this film, that it's actually like it should be considered an adaptation instead of some stupid comedy sketch with, you know, Christmas Carol. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, you know, it's almost like saying, you know, the Family Guy's episode, not the Family Guy, well, the Family Ties episode that does Christmas Carol should be considered an adaptation. I kind of always considered it that, but, you know, she actually makes the case that, you know, this actually, you know, could be, you know, put alongside of, you know, some other adaptations that, you know, really did try, you know, like that stupid Jim Carrey thing. But I really did enjoy how thorough she went into this. I really liked where she talked about the deleted scene. It seemed like it really did bug her that they left it out. And I want to talk maybe about my personal theory about why Ralph the dog is not as vocal as he used to be. Because, you know, obviously Henson voiced Kermit. You know, that was a big deal. I do wonder if it has maybe something to do with the fact that I think Ralph is like one of the first Muppets.
He is the first.
Yeah, so I do wonder if that's something that maybe there's something more personal behind the scenes on that character than maybe casual viewers would catch.
Maybe so, because that's still the case now. They did the same thing with him in the recent film.
Yeah, where he does talk, but, you know,
rarely
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add to that, actually?
Yeah.
Also, with the original Muppet Show, wasn't Ralph the one that rapped the end of the intro that led to the start of the show? Because he was playing the piano, and then somebody did something on the piano, or...
Well, no, it was always the intro always rapped with Gonzo
doing something.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Ralph the dog is in the intro, but like you said, he's just playing the piano.
Yeah, he was always part of the orchestra. You know, playing the piano, obviously. And but yeah, he's an early character that Henson did. So I'm willing to wager it has something to do with that.
If I remember correctly, isn't he in the pilot for Sesame Street?
I actually have the pilot for Sesame Street.
Well, when I say the pilot, I mean like the unaired pilot. There's this thing that they screen because I have a box set that has that on there.
Is it Sesame Street Old School?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've seen what I've seen.
I have, yes.
Yeah, and I think he's in that.
Let's see, Wikipedia says in 1968, Ralph appeared with Kermit the Frog on the pitch reel for Sesame Street.
There it is. That's what we're talking about.
At the end, Ralph is depicted as being eager to join the Sesame Street cast, while Kermit seems reluctant to do so.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go.
I thought I was right about that.
Hooray!
Whoa! Hooray for being right.
Anyway.
So yeah, I'll just sum up. I really did love this video a lot, and yeah, I think it's probably her best one. And I've been watching her progress in the last few, and I think her last few have gotten really, really good.
I think that she, and I don't, you guys chime in and tell me if you agree with this. I think she has really been listening to us.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I forgot to mention, during my section, the thing I thought she was doing with throwing all the black on at the end. I think maybe she misunderstood, and maybe this wasn't it, but I think maybe she misunderstood what I was saying a couple shows ago about fading out at the end.
I was wondering about that too.
And that maybe she thought that that's what I was talking about. It's not that you leave a whole bunch of black space at the end. It's just that you fade out so that it's not so jarring when the video just ends. So you have an actual fade to black, not just cut to black. And I don't think you even really need to put a bunch of extra black at the end. I think that just having the fade that goes down before the video quits on YouTube is kind of enough. But anyway, that's what was probably going on there.
I also want to say thanks, Manos. Now I want to watch Family Ties.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody else have anything to add about Curious Low?
I just kind of feel stupid that she referenced SXC's Blues and I didn't even notice it.
That's okay, Spot. Well, let's go ahead and go on now to the Top Banana and the vote off. We're going to go ahead and vote for who we think should be Top Banana this week out of just the 3 remaining. And we're going to start in the same rotation that we did during the deliberations. So, Fusion, you're first up, sir.
No, Spot is first.
Not Fusion. Spot is first. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. So, Spot, you're first.
That's all right, Admiral Smith. I'm actually going to go with...
Hey there, Cats and Kitty. Spot's first.
I'm actually going to pick pick the top one right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Second banana.
Second.
Don't you hear the cheery music as opposed to the really depressing
The
music?
misleading banana.
For second banana, I choose Bud Abbott.
The problem was the music was so loud, I had a tough time trying to hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on, I'll turn it down. Okay, is that better?
One more.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
I can't hear it now. Turn it back up.
Just a little bit.
All right. Are we good?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right,
Oh my God, I'm blind!
Oh.
What did you do?
We really have no idea what's going on, guys. I'm.
You guys are just making my editing job really hard.
Wait, did you hear Babbling Brook?
Oh, no.
No, it was popping popcorn. Anyways,
No.
he's just gonna edit it out. I thought all three guys did a great job. All 3 contestants this challenge. For me though, I think the obvious top banana for me at least was Curious Low. I mean, he, compared to of the 3, I thought she was just like the most polished. I thought it was just probably the best. Again, video that she's done, at least in my opinion. So I'm gonna go Curious Low.
All right, Fusion.
Yeah, the old curmudgeon of me who's spent this spent this competition criticizing her up to this point is almost loath to say this, but yeah, I want to vote for Curious Low as well.
I'm going to choose Curious Low for my top banana. Really strong review. I liked it a lot.
I too am going to choose Curious Low. Wow, she's got mojo this week. Fantastic. Go ahead, Manos.
Hello, it's the Curious Low. I'm voting for her.
All right, so it's unanimous. Curious Low, congratulations. You are in the top 2. So fantastic. Congratulations. And now we are going to go ahead and move on, unfortunately, to the dreaded vote off. Time to narrow it down to the bottom 2, and to rather the second person who will be going to the finale. And we go back once again to Review Spot. Review Spot, who would you like to vote off this week?
This is certainly not a fun job when you have to pick out somebody because you have to say, okay, well, I didn't like it for this reason, or but I think I might have to go, and I've really supported this guy through all these challenges. I thought he's done a really great job. Every challenge he seems to have gotten better and better. I might go with SXE's Blues on this one, though. I just thought, I thought the beginning, actually, I thought Captain Logan brought a very valid point. It seemed like he wanted to knock all the pins down at the beginning with all the requirements for the challenge, and I think also Lance had commented too, Mr. Fusion had commented as well that it seemed to me that he could have just taken an existing review and just tacked on the requirements to it, even if that wasn't his intentions. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to vote SXE's Blues on this one.
All right, Fusion?
Pass.
Don't do that, no.
Oh, that's not going to happen, dude.
Listen to music, man. The music's going.
But earlier you said we would.
I'm not turning it up or turning it down.
Okay, I don't want to vote anybody off. I think we should all get along and give them all $100 apiece and send them on their way.
Yeah, who's helping me with that?
Now you've made me look like a bag of snakes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. I was specifically brought on this show to do that.
I like snakes.
I don't think a bag of snakes could review action figures.
I'd watch it if it could.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I'm afraid that since I don't have that kind of money to throw around to these people, I'm going to have to also vote off SXE Blues for the reasons that Review Spot mentioned, because I agree with him on everything today. Except for Muppets or Christmas Carols. I don't know, something like that.
And I also have to disagree with who said that the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol was bad. Was it the Manos?
It was the Manos.
It was the Manos. Well, the Spot, I actually liked that Christmas Carol.
Well, that's nice. That's great.
I enjoy the
I
Alice Sim, certainly as number
like
one, but
I emphatically never saw it.
That's version.
What's going
We're
on?
gonna have a big rumble for bastardizations of
Can we change the music now to like Battle Dome? Like,
I just want to throw out that the best version of Christmas Carol is Patrick Stewart. I don't care what anybody says.
oh really?
I thought you were about to say Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
Yes, this fictitious movie that does not exist is amazing. Okay, let's focus.
Get off my room.
Sorry, this is a serious moment here.
It's a serious business, Vince.
Yes. A Christmas Roadhouse. Anyway.
This is serious. No.
This one's really difficult. I was trying to figure out which one of these two guys I'm going to vote off. I think SXE Blues has some delivery issues that can hurt him. I think that Zazu Bar has some, I don't want to call it accuracy. I just feel like he misses the point sometimes. And that's kind of why I'm going to vote for Zazu Bar. I mean, I still think he had an adequate review. I still think it was a good video. I'm going to vote him off, unfortunately.
I also would like to vote off Zazubar. I see where you guys are coming from with SXE Blues and how maybe he didn't integrate his criteria as well as some of the others, and of course, you know, I complained about that as well, and it was neck and neck for me here. But the thing with Zazubar is I didn't think that his criteria were as good as some of the rest of you guys did, and also I just thought that, like I said earlier, I think his review was just adequate. It didn't impress me, and I thought that it was kind of even keel with the rest of his reviews. And I think that SXE Blues' was just a hair above it. So yeah, this was really, really tough. Not to say that Ida was bad, but you know, we got three people and we got to pick one. So for me, it's Zazubar. Yeah. Manos, you have the deciding vote, sir.
Of course. I say that.
I don't know what that means.
It is the hands of fate.
My hands of fate shall choose.
It means he passes.
It came to me as I know it would have. I enjoyed all three of these videos, even with my problems with, them here and there. So what I had to do was basically just, think about, what faults that kind of really put it under for me, and also which one of the two had been for this whole season been really outperforming, and I think that I'm afraid I'm going to have to vote off Zazubar, because in comparison to Blue's video, Blue's had a more solid review. You could make the argument that each had problems integrating the challenge into their videos. but I think an overall piece was done, but much better by Blues than Zazubar this time around. So it's going to be Zazubar for me.
All right, so with 3 votes to 2, that's Zazubar. And Zazubar, we're really sad to see you go. You did a lot of great work this season. We really enjoyed having you on, and we'll all, I'm sure, be watching your channel and seeing how you do with your channel from now on. Now it's time to reveal the final challenge for this season. Guys, can you believe we're already here?
Wow.
I can't believe it.
I know.
Easy. Seems like only yesterday we crowned Mr. Fusion.
I know. I have to pass off my crown now. I'm not giving the
hearing
crown
about
away.
it ever since.
I'm not letting go of my crown. Hold on to that. I'm not giving that away. I'm going to get a new crown for this new person.
Well, I guess
Don't worry, new person. We only gave him a Burger King crown.
And I'm keeping it.
And 2-for-1 coupons, too.
Vince.
But that Burger King crown cost $50.
Yeah. Vince, you totally beat me to the joke.
Well, it's time to finally reveal the challenge for the final round. It's down to 2. It's down to SXE Blues and The Curious Low. And here's what you'll be doing for the finale. Let me start off by saying that this video, like the one we did for the finale last year, will have no time limit. And the video is as follows. You're going to be reviewing your opponent's YouTube channel.
I like this.
That's the challenge. We want you to objectively review the other person's challenge, or the other person's YouTube channel. So, SXE Blues will be reviewing the Curious Low's channel, and she'll be reviewing SXE Blues. You don't have to watch and mention every single video, of course, but good research, like always, is important. Sample enough to get a really good handle on who that person is online, what their style is, how they've changed over their time on YouTube, and also how the contest has affected their videos. Be sure to provide examples to support your ideas, of course. You may and probably should refer to the contest and to the fact that this person is your competitor. That's fine. Feel free to bring that up in this particular video. But the idea is not to prove to us that you should win over that opponent. So I really want to make sure everybody knows that. This is not like a campaign video that's like, anti the other guy. We want you to, I don't want to see you pop up at the end and say, I'm XSC Blues and I approve this message, alright? But again, be objective. I want you to treat this like sort of that review a famous person's body of work challenge we did earlier in the year. So you want to prove what you've learned from the competition in order to tell us what your opponent's strengths and weaknesses are as you see them. Treat your opponent as a review subject and be as fair and critical as you would in another review. Remember that if the judges find you unfairly negative against your opponent, or in the other direction, that you pull your punches too much, that can really hurt your chances of winning.
And we will set you on fire.
Set you on fire. And like I said, there's no time limit on this one. Just like last year, it makes things a little bit more interesting to see how people try to go with whatever length of video they want to try to make. Be as thorough or as concise as you feel you need to be with what we're asking for with this particular challenge. And the due date on this one is Saturday, April the 28th. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Can we set them on fire?
No, we cannot set them on fire.
Can we set their monkeys on fire?
I was going to say, Fusion just took my question.
There's no fire, okay?
Do we have fire music while this is being discussed?
No.
So just one more thing. What were we saying about fire?
Would anybody like to help me write my fan fiction Christmas Carol film with Patrick Swayze?
Yes.
Can Patrick Swayze be on fire?
Yes.
What kind of pants is he gonna wear as Scrooge? That's what I want to know.
Pants?
How about those pants that he wore on Saturday Night Live with Chris Farley when they were the strippers?
Oh my god.
Okay, right.
I was thinking like what, a fringe on the side?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
That's
Charles
not nearly
Dickens,
enough
Jim
to
Henson's Roadhouse Christmas Carol.
This is the best Patrick Swayze contest ever.
Wait, it's Patrick Swayze and Muppets?
Yes. And they're doing Christmas Carol.
That's awesome.
Nobody makes Tiny Tim sit in the corner. That's only funny if you watch Dirty Dancing.
Which I have.
And
That's kind of why I asked about the pants. well, anyway, thanks everybody for watching and listening to Who Reviews the Reviewers. We'll see you again in the final round next month. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm the Review Spot.
I'm Mr. Fusion.
I'm Vince.
And I'm the real Manos.
And we'll see you next time.